welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with my boyfriend Josh, and today we are just going to be showing you all of our isopods and talking to you a little bit about them.
We keep 11 different species of isopod.
I've actually kept isopods for like a year and a half now, but I've never really seriously kept them up until recently.
We've been having a lot of fun keeping them set up in their own little bins, but then also adding certain species to our other animal enclosures as well as part of their cleanup crews and the bioactive setups.
And they sometimes enjoy eating them also.
Yep, sometimes. Isopods can be fantastic in your bioactive setup in that they take a lot of the work off of your hands. For one, they will ingest a lot of your animal's feces.
Decaying leaves and stuff. Stuff that you would normally find on like a forest floor, because you would also normally find isopods.
A lot of people do like to keep them for these practical reasons. Personally, I also just love seeing them in any setup, really, in any environment. It is just so fantastic to be able to look at the top of any enclosure and see all the beautiful greenery and, you know, basking spots. But I also love to be able to look down at the dirt and have something nice to look at as well. We've been having a lot of fun looking after these guys.
So in this video, we're basically just going to show you all of the different isopods we have, and we're also going to be feeding them.
And after all that, we are gonna just go through some of our favorites.
With all that said, I think we might as well just go ahead and start looking at the isopods and also going ahead and feeding them. So let's go and do that now. Okay, so this is what we're going to feed the isopods. It's just a rapashi food, it's powder. It's called morning wood. Fun. So you can feed this a few different ways. Like it says right on the back that you can feed it as a powder, a gel, or a jerky. I don't really know why you'd bother making this into jerky, but okay. Anyways, we're gonna be feeding it as a gel. So we're gonna go and prepare this. So you basically just need like boiling water and then you mix it together and there will be food. It says on the back that it's 2 parts water to like 1 part food. We just have like a very shallow bit of water in this pot that we're just boiling now, and then once it's boiled we can start preparing the food over here.
All right, the water is boiling, so we are going to add 1 part powder to 2 parts boiling water. Workstation over here.
Should probably do the powder first so then the spoon isn't all wet. Okay. 1
expertly leveled spoonful.
Yep, that's good enough. Oh,
good
yeah,
enough.
Or I don't know. Let's do 2. Good enough again. Okay, so now 4 water scoops. Don't burn myself. Maybe I should just like bring this over here.
Make sure to be careful handling any boiling water.
I'm gonna do 1 extra scoop just because like this doesn't fill all the way to the top. So, and it also says 2 to 3 scoops per 1 scoop of powder. I feel like this might need more water. I'm gonna do another scoop of water. I still feel like this could use a little bit more water.
We are going to leave this out to cool down. Shouldn't take too long, especially the magic of video editing. And just like that, our food is ready, nice and cooled down, ready to be cooked and subsequently eaten.
Am I supposed to eat it now? I'm just gonna take like a butter knife here and cut it up into some smaller pieces. It cuts really easily, like it's a completely solid gel now. Misty, this is gross for you. I don't think you would like this food. It's just... Rapashi's morning wood is Misty approved. The gel food is all cut up. We can go ahead and start feeding it to the isopods. Okay, so these ones right here are the giant orange isopods. These are one of the species that I've kept for the longest. When I very first started keeping isopods, I got zebra isopods, the orange isopods, I got dwarf whites and dwarf purples. So those 4 species I've had for like a year and a half now, so these are one of those. So this culture here has bred quite a lot. You don't see many when you're just looking at the top because over time as they have been breeding, I've been taking them out and adding them into enclosures and stuff. If we flip over the cork, you'll see that there's a lot of little isopods just hanging out here. Spiky, look at that one right there walking around. Since the orange ones here are a fairly large colony for what we have, but I'm gonna go ahead and give them 2 gel cubes here. You can see that isopod right there is already having a little munch.
Next up, we have the common isopods, or Oniscus ocellus.
So these ones are actually just isopods that I found in my backyard last year. So I took these guys before I moved from Nova Scotia. I've maybe found like 10 of them outside one day and just decided to try keeping them and seeing if I could get a culture going, and I was pretty successful in it. Thankfully, these guys have bred quite a lot now. I've used them in some of my enclosures. Misty's a little curious about them too. If you do look closely, you can see some moving around, but you're mostly gonna see them when you start flipping over cork and stuff. You can see like the size variation here. This enclosure probably has a lot of like tiny babies in it if we were to look really close. So these guys are also a fairly large culture, so I'm gonna go ahead and give them maybe 3 pieces of this gel food. Yeah, and you can see them already going to it.
This is a fairly popular species, the dairy cow isopods, or Porcellio laevis.
I got these guys last year also, not with my like original few that I bought. I got these ones a few months later. For a while, I had quite a bit of difficulty getting these guys to breed. I don't know why, they just like weren't really breeding. But they're doing a lot better now. These guys do like bury in the substrate more than other species I keep, I find, so they are a little harder to see.
We also do have a fair amount of springtails in here. I don't know if you can see those moving around. Now, those were not intentionally added to this bin, but they must have gotten in through the air holes in the top, since we were at one point keeping the springtails pretty close to the dairy cows. The springtails in here will actually help to keep this bin itself a lot cleaner, as they do eat a lot of molds and such, so we don't have to worry about that at all. We're gonna go ahead and give 2 gel cubes here, because there are not a whole lot of them, but we do hope that they continue to breed and multiply.
So these ones here are the dwarf white isopods. These guys are really common in the pet trade because they do make really good cleanup crews. These guys also breed really fast. However, they're a lot smaller than a lot of the other isopods we keep. These guys also tend to bury themselves in the substrate more than other species do. So it is kind of hard to see them. Anytime I add these guys into an enclosure, what I do is I just take a handful of the dirt. And then when you take a handful of the dirt, you can see all the little isopods running around in it.
We have these in a lot of our bioactive setups.
Yeah, basically every enclosure that I have that is bioactive, I do have these guys in there. Since there are a lot in here, whether you can see them or not, I'm gonna go ahead and give 3 or 4 gel cubes in here. This one's a big one, so I'll do 3.
So these ones are pretty interesting. They are a pretty recent colony that we've picked up. Oh, a bit of an old molt there. There we go. Just molt there. This is not a white isopod. Let's see if we can find any. So these are the Cabarrus Marinars, or little C isopods.
You can see the babies pretty well there.
They are doing fantastic so far. I love the little spots they have on the rear there. Just find that cute little feature. So these guys are a lot of fun. They're certainly not shy, and they are doing very well so far.
There's a decent amount in this one, and since there's also babies in here, I'd put at least maybe 3 or 4 in. It's like that's a pretty big one, so do like 3 larger ones or 4 smaller ones or something. There's those.
That is them.
So these ones here are the zebra isopods. So these ones, again, are one of the first isopod cultures that I got, and probably one of my favorites. These guys just look really cool, but we'll talk more about that later. These guys have been breeding really well. There's a whole bunch of little tiny isopods in here. If you flip over the cork, you can see like some of the bigger ones and some of the smaller ones. There's not a ton in here just because as they've been breeding, I've been putting them into like bioactive enclosures. I gave a culture to a friend before, so yeah. These are where my zebras are at right now. We're gonna go ahead and give them their gel food now. So where there are quite a few zebras in here, I think I'm gonna give them 4 pieces of the gel food. There. One of the little zebra isopods here, one of the little small ones, found the food and started munching. Oh, little tiny other one found the food there.
And some picky eaters in here.
Got a little isopod having a snack here.
All right, these are our dwarf purples, or Trichoniscidae. Check out how they are doing. Got quite a few little ones in here. Again, those are very, very small and maybe kind of hard to pick out, but if you pay attention, you should be seeing a lot of movement on that little cork piece there. And if you take a real good close look at the actual dirt here, we can get a little clearing. You can see all kinds of activity in our top layer there. We're going to do 3 gel cubes of morning wood for this one. We have our albino colony here, our albino armadillidiums. Check them out. Got quite a few big visible ones right off the bat.
So we do have a lot of these isopods.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you look inside of the cork crevices, you can see them too. I doubt we'll be able to really show it on camera, but if you look closely, I can spot 2 isopods just in that crevice.
You can also often find them rolled up into a little ball just about a centimeter below the surface of the dirt. So we're gonna give them 4 medium-sized cubes of gel.
Right here we have the peach isopods, and these are the Armadillidium nassatum. So these ones are also another pretty recent culture that we just got. It's kind of a mix of like mostly subadults. There's a few larger ones in here also. You can see a couple of them right here. There's 2 hanging out there. There's like 1 in that little hole. There's 2 right here. This one's pretty small. Right here you can see a couple of the larger ones, like this one for example is a decent size. Same with this one who's hanging out right there. So since there isn't a whole lot in here yet, and like they're not breeding or anything yet, I'm just gonna go and put 2 gel cubes in here. I'll just put 1 right here, and then we'll put another one right here, and then we'll allow these guys to eat on their own. So these here are the powder blue isopods. These are ones that I had a little bit of an issue with. The culture was doing well up until recently when it basically just died off. I had put too many of them into enclosures and stuff, and I basically just killed off my colony. So I recently went out and bought a few more, and ever since buying those couple more, they've been doing really well. All I bought was 12 adults, but they've already had babies since I got them. So there's like a whole bunch of little powder blues. The baby powder blues are really hard to see though. Like they're super, super tiny and mostly in the soil, but you can see quite a few of them right here on this cork piece. They're hanging out kind of in the little crevice. These guys are pretty fast too when they move, little speedy isopods.
That little extra group you bought a few days ago loaded almost immediately too.
So I only bought the new culture maybe like a week or 2 ago. Bought just 12 adults, but there's so many babies in here. They must have basically just had babies like immediately when I got them.
Nice little housewarming party.
Yeah. So these guys, there's not a whole lot of adults yet, but like I said, there's a lot of babies in here, so I'm probably gonna put 3 smaller cubes in.
And lastly, we have our Canary Island Spikey Isopods. They're in the Porcellio genus as well. These guys are unique in that they do prefer much drier habitats than our other isopods. Now, these guys are called the Canary Island Spikey Isopods, for one, because they come from, you guessed it, Canary Island. And second of all, if you look very, very closely, you can see some spikes on their backs. Now, most of ours are too small to really see anything at this point. There's not a very large amount of them in here, but so far they are doing okay, and we're very excited.
Hoping that these guys will establish themselves pretty well. So we only have 15 of these. They're all like subadults. They're all still pretty tiny. So we definitely won't have any breeding from these guys for a little while.
Since there's such a small group in this bin, we are going to take 1 large cube and split it into 2 half cubes. These are very, very specific units of measurements. Make sure that you have a scale and a ruler handy as well. We're gonna do 1 over here and 1 over here, because we're not really sure if there is a side of the bin that they prefer to hang out on yet.
So now that you guys have seen all of our isopods and got to watch us feed them, we wanted to take a little bit of time to tell you about our top favorites. So we each picked 3 favorites out of all of the species that we showed you. As you might be able to guess, we have 1 shared favorite. So these are my 3 favorites, and then these are Josh's 3 favorites. Before we tell you what our favorites are, I think it would be fun if you guys took a guess.
So no cheating. Don't skip forward. Pause the video. Tell us down in the comments what do you think our top 3 are? From our rantings and ravings thus far, where do you think
one
our hearts
little
lie?
hint that we have a shared favorite. So it's not 6 species, there's 5 species here you gotta get.
Let us know what you think and tell us what your top 3 out of these species are as well. Or if you have a favorite isopod species that we don't have, there's a chance we've never even heard of it. So definitely let us know about those as well. Well, I don't know if you know, but like those are mine and these are yours.
So apparently these are Josh's isopods and those are mine. We're gonna move this one out of the way. If you can't tell, we also put pieces of paper towel over the names so that you couldn't tell. Yep. This one.
It was either that or a bunch of blindfolds.
Yeah.
My first favorite. Let's do this first. Make it a little trickier.
Yeah. A little switcheroo.
A little switcheroo.
Everyone's confused now.
So the first colony that I've selected in my top 3 is the giant orange isopods, the Porcellio scabbard. I love these guys. I think orange is a great color.
Orange is a good color.
Any really bright colors in any animal I find super, super fascinating. So these guys, while they may not be the most vibrant shade of orange necessarily, I just think any deviance from your typical earth tones, anything a little bit brighter, more fiery, more eye-catching, I always appreciate that. I also love the way that these guys move. I don't know, just love their legs and their antenna. I think they're a lot of fun. All right, Emma, give us one of your favorites.
Okay, so let's talk about these ones here. So my first ones that I wanted to talk about are the dwarf purple isopods. Now I want to say like the dwarf purples and the dwarf whites are pretty equal ranking. It doesn't really matter to me. I think that they are a great isopod if you're looking for a species for your bioactive enclosures or something. Dwarf whites and dwarf purples I think are probably one of the best you can put in your bioactive enclosures. They also breed really fast, so if you're looking for a species that will establish themselves in a terrarium or something, I would say dwarf whites or dwarf purples are probably the first ones I'd recommend. There's my first one.
The second species that I've chosen to spotlight here are the Canary Island Spikey boys. These guys I think are super, super cool. I fell in love with these guys when we saw the first picture of them. Yeah. Now, I will say that they are a lot smaller than I was expecting them to be from the first picture.
They're also babies though.
They are also babies, and we have already seen from the few that have grown that the spikes are a lot more visible. Either way, I'm very excited to watch how these progress, just see how spiky they really get.
Can they stab you? We'll let you know in a few months.
Do I have to worry about stepping on these guys back then? Do I have to worry about wearing slippers around the house? You know?
Yep.
Little Lego bricks crawling around. Who knows?
Grow mountains.
I guess we will find out. Yep. I'm also just really excited for this colony to establish, because it will.
Okay, and my second species here are the zebra isopods. So these have always been one of my favorites. I mentioned that when we were like showing them. These are one of the first species that I got. I've always just found them really cool. I really, really like their patterns. I personally think black and white animals are really cool, especially when it's really contrasted. These guys especially I find are interesting because some of them have like perfect stripe patterns, whereas some of them are a lot more blotchy. Like if you look at this one here.
That is interesting. I don't know if I've ever really noticed that before.
Show this up on the camera. Wait, can you come here and tap it? It's okay. I'm trying to show isopods. There, okay. I don't know how well you can, I need like a, I don't think this is gonna work. Maybe. You know what? I'm just gonna take a picture. Okay, this is gonna be much easier. And photo. There we go. One of the things I find really interesting about these guys' pattern is not only like just the black and white and the contrast, but as I was saying, like just the variation on every individual isopod. And we even had a recent color mutation pop up in this colony. I mean, I probably would have a hard time finding it because there's a lot in here and he's tiny. But we recently had a little chocolate zebra isopod pop up. So this is basically just the same as like morphs in like snakes and lizards and stuff. But like hopefully he'll like keep growing.
Is that him?
Oh, it is. Hey, we found the little chocolate isopod here. I'll just take another photo. I'm not gonna bother trying to go up to the camera. Let's not do that again. I wonder if there's more than one too. Yeah, so we have one little like color mutation isopod here.
Don't tell the other ones, but we have agreed on our favorite.
Yes.
On our favorite
These
bin.
are a shared favorite of ours.
So Josh and Emma's favorite colony of isopods that we are currently keeping are the little C isopods, the Cabarrus Marinars. These guys are just really awesome to look at. I love the like almost matte coloration they have.
They have cute little faces too.
I love that little, those little color patches on their back. Can't wait to learn more about these guys.
I think one of the things too that just like makes me so happy about these ones is also like that they've already started breeding. We've only had them for like a couple weeks now, so like hopefully a couple months from now we can have like a pretty big colony, which would be really cool because these guys, like I love them, they're so fun. And I really like the shape of them because I think these are our only Cabarrus species.
We have a couple different species of Armadillidium genus. We've got a couple different species and the Porchelias as well. This is our only Cabarrus species, and we're having a lot of fun with them so far.
So we only started with a culture of 30 of these. All of them are doing well. Like you can probably find all 30 adults like relatively easily. Hopefully they keep doing.
Finding a lot of isopod molts in here as well. I can see like 3 just from right here.
These would be our shared favorite isopods. Let's name them all individually now.
On the table right now we have about, what would you say?
With all the isopods here?
Yeah, how many do you think? All of the colonies put together, we've probably got thousands.
Comment down below a guess and we'll count them all, and whoever gets the right number.
Well, I was gonna say, we've got a big naming project ahead of us. So if you have any name suggestions for our thousands of little isopods, we're not gonna be too picky.
Please don't spam comments. Please don't spam with thousands of name suggestions. You can give us 2.
I'm not gonna be allowed on this channel anymore after this. But guys, do let us know what your favorite colony today was. Let us know if you got our top 3 right, especially if you correctly guessed what our favorite colony between the 2 of us was. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to Emma's channel. Don't forget to comment below.
I guess with all that said, we can just go ahead and end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed it and enjoyed seeing all of our isopods and everything. Yeah, like Josh already said, I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, and also checked out all of my social media. It will be in the description down below. But yeah, all that said, we can just go ahead and end this video here. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.